Steam! It powers the world, and it powers our frustration here in Oxygen Not Included. But today, we are going to tackle it once and for all. The hive mind has spoken many times. I've read through all of your comments on the last video, and we're going to put it all together to make a nice, simple, easy-to-use Steam turbine system to generate power for your base. And then we'll also do a couple more experiments based on different recommendations that you guys were also listing over here in the comments. So I'm referring to all of this. And as you can see, there are many different things. We've got forms, we've got videos, we've got pictures and compressors, sequences, and all sorts of goodness to go through. All right, so taking a look at the system that we tested last time, we were just so close. If we take a look at the reports, I can actually see over here that you can see just how much was created by steam turbines. This one was 2,399 kilojoules right there. So you should see 1,200 kilojoules for one steam turbine running continuously. So what that means is in cycle 116, which I was experimenting with this yesterday, we had pretty much 100% uptime. And we can see that more or less we're just about having 100% uptime, pretty darn close to it for cycle after cycle after cycle, producing at least 2,300 kilojoules for, several cycles right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the system off for a little bit, try to let it reach a point where it's no longer running, try to clear everything out, and then I'm just going to heat this up, and we're going to try to run this system with just the one simple modification that we made here, which is just restricting that inlet. So that's the first piece of the puzzle, I think. I'm also going to dig this out a little bit. There's several different ways of potentially how we can actually deliver power to this, chamber and everything that's inside of it. And one of the more cool ways somebody was talking about was actually using doors. Now, I've seen this used a couple of times on different posts and things like that. But if you actually use a couple of these doors, right, just like what we're doing over here to make this a vacuum by leaving that one open, you can actually control the transfer of heat from here up to whatever's above it, and then turn it off by opening it up and having it be a vacuum, as long as you don't have any gas in there. So you can kind of use them as contactors, physical contactors, which deliver, transfer heat across them or not. That's pretty cool. It's like a thermal shift plate how you can turn on and off. So the temperature inside of here should be nice and hot. We have 300 and some degrees Celsius. As long as we're about 100 degrees more, we need about 350 down here before we can run it through 2 steam turbines. There's some more comments down there talking about the actual math behind how much energy is being pulled out of the steam as it's running through a steam turbine. All right, so Kane Cold Hair had a comment, and it was talking about 626,850 joules of heat for every 2 kilowatts of electrical power or something like that. It's kind of hard to tell. Used periods instead of commas, so I don't know where one ends and the next begins. But there's definitely some math involved as far as just how much energy is being pulled, out of the steam and then turning that into electrical power, or however you want to think about that. Essentially, the steam gets colder, power leaves the system. So to sum this up, it seems like one tile of magma at its normal pressure, which was 1,800 some kilograms, it should run a steam turbine for right around 6 cycles or so, which is that calculation right there. So 6.4 cycles. To me, this is an interesting chunk of information because we might be able to figure out when you're trying to no longer run this with magma, but equipment rather, just how much you have to put into the system in order to get anything out of it to see if you actually have a system that will produce more electrical energy than you put into it. There's some fun things that can be, figured out in that way. Anyhow, this steam should be nice and up to temperature now, and we should be able to run it. So it's well over the temperature we have. We have 460 degrees Celsius down there. So I'm going to go ahead and open those doors. It was right around 250 degrees Celsius that these steam turbines need to operate at. A lot of people were asking what temperature do these things need to be in order to run, and that's the answer. There's a more exact number. It's like maybe 259 point something or something like that. But it's it's up there. It's definitely higher than most equipment is capable of going inside the game. So I can see this top turbine here is spinning up under pressure, spinning up under pressure. Hopefully it will balance out here pretty soon, and I'll be able to run both of these steam turbines continuously. We can see the bottom one is definitely running, but that might just be with the pressure here. All right, so there's the temperature. It's 251.9 degrees Celsius. That's what it has to reach. All right, so even though I can't get my experiment to work twice in a row, I did show that there was a report of it actually working. That's more or less the basis that I think we need to follow in order to actually get this system working simply. You know, at least for one steam turbine. Before we try to tackle two, let's just go ahead and keep it simple. There were several comments talking about that one too. So let's just set up one using that restricted inlet there and some door sequencing in order to get it working and working well with just one steam turbine. And if you could do that, well, then you might just build a couple steam turbines right next to each other and not even worry about trying to feed one to another, because why would you even do that if you could just set up two of them side by side? Because it's a challenge, that's why. That's never stopped us in the past for trying something. All right, so based on what I've seen, this is all you should need in order to get this steam turbine up and running. So inside of here is a good amount of steam already. You can see we have about 21 kilograms worth of steam. So I really wouldn't have to bring any more liquid in. Now, it's definitely a good idea to preheat this liquid up towards 100 degrees Celsius before you bring it in so that you don't waste a bunch of energy. I don't know if it's really worth it when you're talking about having this much magma around, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. In the last video here, a lot of people were asking about what was the phosphorus for? Well, that's just a gas. It could be just about any gas that I was using in order to bridge the thermal liquid, you know, the temperature from the liquid here over here to this hot plate. So all you do is you just dig down till you get to some magma and then pump it full of like hydrogen, or you know, you could pump oil down there, which would be natural gas, which might be really useful because then you could kind of pump it out. A lot of different gases, essentially, just to transfer that energy from here to the hot plate to keep this thing hot enough to run. It's a different method. I mean, there was one comment over here that was doing this. I mean, look at this. Guys like building doors and pumping magma around in order to heat the steam. Pretty dope, fun idea. I don't know if it's really practical to build. So that was an attempt to have a practical way to actually get the heat from one spot to another. But then again, there's also heat conveyors, whatever. Let's see if this thing works. So I'm just going to use the exact same door sequence I used last time. And then we'll go from there. Apparently my steam turbine is overheating. Oh, apparently that's really hot. Gold. Oh, I've got some problems down here. This experiment is going to try to drive me nuts no matter what. All right, here we go. We're going to plug this in so that it will run. A bunch of refrigerators up here which are trying to generate heat. It's up to 75 degrees Celsius. It's kind of a slow process. Why is there more? What? Where did that even come from? No, get out of here. Thank you. It came from the automation wire. All right, so there we go. So this is high pressure down here. We can see it's right around 12 kilograms and 6. Technically, this should be running. All right, so let's go ahead and try this one. We'll give it a little bit more space. See if that makes a difference. All right, so no matter what I do here, I can see right off the bat, this isn't enough to get that steam turbine up and running. We got to be a little bit more dramatic. DigiVikai here has a different approach for the sequencing of doors for door compressors, and that is this right here, using 4 doors. You can see it basically uses buffer filters and knots, but a little bit of a bridge there, so a different sequence. I'm going to go ahead and give this a try to see if this might pump a little bit more steam from one area to the next. Now, there were a lot of comments talking about door sequencing and trying to position this thing in different places. Well, the answer is you basically need to compress this down into one spot down here where it's going to be high pressure and then can flow up into the steam turbine. So maybe this chamber down here needs to be bigger or smaller. The real answer is I don't think you can put this at the end of the door, but Let's go ahead and try this other sequence, and we'll mess around with it a little bit right there. All right, so let's see how this works. So that one moves a door, but it kind of keeps 2 open. I like it. That's a fun sequence. Let's go ahead and try to speed it up a little bit. We'll turn all of these down to 1 second. Yeah, get some of that, door pump. All right, so what I need, though, is this top door is not really being too effective. It should be like that. Well, about the only thing I can see is that it's not working. Let's go ahead and try to make that bottom chamber a little bit bigger. See if it has to do with a volume. So if we make that larger, then the pressure here should drop, you know, more slower, essentially. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but if there's more of it down here, then it should drop slower. Well, nothing I've ever done has made me think that one sequence of door pumps was ever enough to keep a steam turbine up and running. So that's really, I shouldn't be a surprise. So I'm going to go ahead and double up the door pumps here, and that might give us enough to get this thing up and running 100%. Deconstruct buildings, there you go. Steam is now moving around. Well, all of this condensing down into water is not helping anything. I mean, I get that that's kind of cold, but we're just going to dig this up. There you go. Get hot. Not quite running yet, but there isn't a lot of steam down there, so let's go ahead and just add some more. That should steam up nice. There we go. Now that's a decent amount. All right, so this is looking promising. Right down here, I can see that the pressure for this steam is staying right around 48 kilograms, and it's not exactly reducing. You know, it's kind of staying there. No, don't do something different when I'm talking about, no! Okay, it's going down. Slowly, but it is going down. Alright, so here we go, guys. This is actually looking quite promising. Down here at the bottom, I can see that we have 46 kilograms. It's doing this number. It's kind of going up and down, but it isn't like dropping dramatically. Up here at the top, you can see that it is, well, it's all over the place, really. But if I just measure right up here above it, you can see it's right around 5 kilograms. And it's staying right around that pressure. It's not like it's, you know, dramatically increasing. So right down here, we can see that this is now 41 kilograms, which makes me think that at some point, the steam turbine's going to slow down. I don't know how many cycles it's going to take, but it's got to balance out eventually. I don't think we're quite there. What if I compress the area above it? What happens if I do that? How does this change things? So now that's right around 7 or 6 or so. Let's see if this number starts to go back up. It's at 38. You can see all the magma down here solidifying. One of the arguments is that, you know, and I would say it's a very valid argument, that there's a lot less power in magma if you convert it to steam and then, you know, use that to generate power, as compared to just using the heat from magma to turn oil into natural gas and then just burning that. I think that is a very valid argument. But then again, we kind of know that the steam turbine's probably going to change, you know, and become something a little bit different. But for the sake of trying to solve the problem, which is getting this pesky piece of equipment to actually run, that's what this whole video is about. And so far, this one's running. I wonder if I slow the game down, if that will kind of change how that works. Because I've noticed when you run the game quite a bit faster, it doesn't calculate things like the door pumps as accurately as it potentially could. So what I'm seeing here is we're at 33. If this goes up to like 34, 35, 36 or so, then I think it's a thing with the speed of the game. I don't know. I'll let it run here for a little bit. If this turns into 36 or so, then I would say that this system is a functioning system as far as just running one steam turbine continuously off of, you know, a vat of magma, which would be a big success. All right, so I've been gone for a little bit here, and it seems like the system is just stabilized. I mean, this just seems to be the number. 33.9 kilograms, and whatever it is above it, you know, right around 7 kilograms. it just seems to have evened out at that point here. We can see that the reports, if you look at the previous day here, we got 1,200 kilojoules right there. The day before that, 1,200, 1,200, 1,200. That should be proof enough that this system here, it works. So there we have it. That is a working system, and it's all thanks to you guys and what your comments, have led this to. So it's like kind of like the hive mind solution, right? We put it out there. People submit a lot of different ideas. Start to look through them, and boom, there you have it. We were very, very close before, but it was that one little trick that we saw there with, Life Grows having that one reduced chunk to kind of make this steam turbine work because it senses that high pressure area instead of pulling it in across the entire steam turbine, which is probably what they're going to do to fix the steam turbine, or it may have an inlet and an outlet if we actually get pumps. Who knows? Well, we'll see here in the next couple of weeks if they actually do anything with it. I would think they would. A lot of people think they would. But it was your guys' comments that led me to see that, which was another idea posted elsewhere. The other thing was this different door sequence. I'm not sure that this was any better than the triple door sequence that I was running previous, but I can tell you that it does work, and I kind of like the sequence a little bit more. It's much more elegant with 4 doors, but now I have to remember it. It's buffer filter, buffer filter, buffer filter, buffer filter, buffer knot. The knot, though, is a... All right, so moving on to some other experiments here. One of the other ideas I've seen people talking about is using a different type of gas. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and talk about gas here. All right, one of many comments that were talking about this. So just like Yentro here was talking, what about using a different type of gas? So we see up here we have a bunch of hydrogen right above here, but the steam is escaping out to the side. Interesting. Let's see if this thing works. I think that was actually from another video. This guy right here. Yeah, I think it was this one. So that's Dr. Purick right here. I see that right there. So that's probably where that came from, or maybe vice versa. I'm not sure. Point is, let's set it up and see if it works. That's a very tricky thing to do to make it work, which makes me think that that's probably totally going to work. And I can't see over here. That's always bad for a duplicate. Okay, Liam, I just need to, push back the black void. So if you could just reveal some of this map for me, thank you. How about a little bit down here? Sorry, buddy. I know that's kind of toasty, but thank you. All right, you can go hang out with Jen over here. Or Jean. There was a long debate about whether Jen is a male or female. Apparently, lack of long eyelashes is the difference between male and female. I would have pointed at some other, obvious features besides eyelashes first, but, I don't know if duplicates actually have any. We're getting well off topic at this point. Let's focus back on our experiment. As you could imagine, it was an interesting conversation over there in the comment section. There we go. Steam turbine goes here. Insulated tiles go right here. Oh! What? Oh, poor guy fell down the ladder. At least you're buried in liquid copper. I mean, that's kind of cool. But thank you. This was for science. Well, actually it was more like for exploration. Well, he died for a good cause. Okay, so I have 8.2 kilograms of steam, so it's probably a really good idea to balance out how much steam you have in an area to how much hydrogen you're going to put in there. Otherwise, the level of gas may fluctuate and it wouldn't be a good thing. So I'm going to go ahead and match that, which you could do with some careful planning about how much liquid you put into an area and how large that area is, and kind of balance that with the amount of gas you put in there. Ooh, helium? Let's go ahead and do helium. Why not? We don't ever use helium for anything. Oh, helium is really cold. Oh, but that's right. It doesn't really have much. There was a very, very long and informative post about thermal energy, and they made this really awesome forum post here. I pinned it to the top of the last video so you guys can go and check this thing out. So this looks like it'll be really useful for those of you that want to dig more into the thermal aspects of this game you know, the energy and whatnot that's involved. I would like to learn more of this, personally. There's a good amount of thermodynamics that I do not understand very well. I mean, honestly, about the only time I use any of it is here in Oxygen Not Included. But I think this is pretty cool, and I'd like to learn more about it. And if you guys are curious about it, you can go check it out in the last video. Links, all of that stuff will be down there in the description below as well. So that was created by French Stud here, so you can actually see that, and he explains it a little bit right there. I'm trying to pin it to the top of the video, but you'll be able to see that there. Anywho, all we should have to do is plug this thing in to a power source and just enable it to run. So, just like so, and it should run under pressure. Because the helium is too high pressure and the steam is too low. How are we going to get this one to work? All right, so what we need is a barrier between these two areas, right? This middle ground right there. See how that kind of is constantly flipping between steam and helium? It doesn't know what to do. So maybe we need just a little less helium in this area, or hydrogen or whatever. We'll try it with some different gases, but if we reduce that, we've added a little, we've taken a little out of the top here. Let's see if we can ever get it to activate. Vacuum, vacuum, yes, there we go. Uh-oh, no! Yes, oh, it's trying. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more, add more vacuum. Yes, let's do that. This is a very, very confused steam turbine. Yeah, it is certainly not running consistently. Let's go ahead and try to do this. We'll give it another spot to go. Nope, not quite. Okay, I'm taking a little bit of the lighter gas out. Nope, how about a little more? Okay, a lot more out. You can do it. Run! Hey, there we go. What a ridiculous thing. All right, less gas up top. Okay, so far that isn't really working all that great. What if we restrict the inlet? Yes, what about that? So now I have a fairly controlled amount of steam down here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more steam to this whole thing. So we'll paint in some more water. There you go. Oops, that's not gonna work. Boom! Okay, so now we got a lot of steam. Too much steam. 13.7. Oh, yep, nope, yep. All right, so I'm going to use hydrogen, and I'm going to fill this area here with hydrogen. And down here, I'm also going to put in steam. So long as I can actually paint in steam. Yes, I can. So that will be at 30 kilograms as well, which will be right down here. Things are confused. So temperature is not high enough. It needs, whoa. Let's get some thermal shift plates up in this bad boy. Right there. Okay, so it is under pressure. Too much hydrogen. This is a tricky thing to try to get working. So if I reduce the amount of hydrogen above this, it should activate eventually here. There we go. Oh, it's working! Oh, and I spoke too soon. Come on. You can do it. How about that? I mean, it kind of farts into life, but there you go. Maybe it works better if I plug off one side and just kind of let it do that number. Yeah. No, come on. Put a little bit more vacuum up here. Oh, but steam is still coming out up top here, so it's not like it's just gonna build up until hydrogen slips out. This is a very finicky way of doing it. I mean, I could see how we might be able to eventually get that to work. What if we used like naphtha or something like that at a very low volume, just liquid? So 1 kilogram of what is technically naphtha. Yeah, no. Oh, it got too hot and it turned into natural gas. Crap. Well, it doesn't work. What about mercury? I know we don't even have that, but I just want to see if the liquid thingy works. Don't tell me that turned into gas. No! Well, mercury in gas form is quite interesting. It has a pretty high thermal conductivity. Quite a bit higher than phosphorus, actually. However, I don't know where you're actually going to get mercury in the game currently. But maybe it's something to file away in your brain for later. From what I've seen, though, trying to put some sort of gas above this thing and have it run continuously... Oh, nope, there it goes. Doesn't always work, right? It has problems. Now, as I saw over here, let's go ahead and go to another experiment, which is the ability to turn on or off our steam hot plate. Because right here, we've accidentally melted some of our automation wires. Things got too hot. We now have molten copper inside of here. That's a bad deal. So, I like this. This is fun. Using a bunch of iron doors or something along those lines, and then insulated tiles on the end. They don't have to be insulated. They could just be made of abyssalite, like that. And then you have a metal plate down here at the bottom, just like so. And then what you do is you go ahead and use an automation signal up here. So let's go with a thermal sensor. Bing, just like that. Connected to our automation wire. And that will run all of these doors. So if this goes above, let's say, 500 degrees Celsius, well, 300 is its maximum number, then those doors will open. And now we should see that the temperature no longer can go from this side to that side. And it should auto-regulate the temperature inside of here. So let's go ahead and re-enable this thing so that we can start to pull some energy out of this steam and allow it to cool down. And what we should see is that eventually these doors will close, and that will in turn heat the steam back up. What did I make this out of? Don't tell me I made this out of gold. Oh no, I made it out of gold. I have a tendency to make everything out of gold. Alright, so I'm getting close to the temperature here. We can see that we can see it happened right there, actually. We were just looking at this. So the temperature dropped down below 300 degrees Celsius, and those doors closed, and you can see the temperature bounce right back up. So let's just slow this down real quick. Kind of a medium speed real quick. Alright, so here we go. So it drops below the temperature, the doors close, thermal energy gets pumped right back up into the steam above it, and it jumps right back up about 20 degrees Celsius or so. So it's a self-regulating system so that it doesn't overheat. I like that. Really great idea. Okay, so that was from Minnie over here that was actually talking about this. Right down here. Use a liquid switch or something like that, which prompted the idea of using doors to go open and close like that in order to self-regulate the temperature. It's like absolutely impossible to try to like summarize 100 different comments, all filled with technical data. It's kind of ridiculous. It takes me like 2 hours to get through all of that, but we can see here that the result is that we have an absolute, we have a working steam turbine that was an absolute pain in the butt, but we can see here it's now operating continuous and it's self-regulating so it doesn't overheat. And it's pretty easy to actually heat this thing up. I mean, down here we've just put some sort of gas down here to transfer that energy from wherever your magma is over here to your hot plate to make it work. So this is really useful, guys. Absolutely awesome. Great ideas. And I think that's going to be, very useful. All right, so for my last experiment here, I'm going to try to do a progressive stack of steam turbines. A lot of people were kind of talking about that. Not sure if it's really, they used the word stack, but there were several comments that were hinting at the same sort of idea of using one steam turbine to power 2 steam turbines, to power 3 steam turbines, and it's a massive pyramid scheme, and we're going to see if it works. So let's see if, the idea being that obviously you move from a higher pressure to a lower pressure, so if you stagger that with more turbines, then it might work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to restrict the inlet for those two steam turbines so that they kind of feed off of the same spot. So they'll feed off of like this spot right there, even though I put something there. Boom. Okay. Sometimes you just need more blocks to play with. There we go. Just paint them in. There we go. There's one. There's another. So that's two steam turbines. Oh, and here's where I would love to just like copy, paste. Copy. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, that's one way to get rid of your automation is to melt it. Okay. Well, that problem solved itself for me. This takes a long time to build, even in debug mode. But if it works, it'll be the most amazing steam-powered generator I've built yet. I did not say enable. Disable. Fool. Don't you dare start running on me. All right, here we go. Not buffer filter, buffer filter, buffer filter, buffer filter, buffer. Remember all that. You'll be just fine. All right, so who's ready to see if this is going to work? This was a lot to build just for like, you know, a couple extra steam turbines. All right, so let's give this a try. We'll plug that in. We'll get all these running. Let's go ahead and just, I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to 1 second on all of these so it runs a little bit faster. We're going to put 100 kilograms of steam down here. Unless I already have 100. No. 100 kilograms. Lots of steam. And then these mechanized airlocks will transfer that heat up here into the steam. I like that. That is so cool. I think there's a lot we can do with this little mechanism right here for all sorts of things. A lot of fun ideas will come from this one. Okay, so come on. Get up to temperature now. So the one thing that isn't so great about this is that this thermal sensor here isn't going, it won't go up high enough. Unless I add like a buffer to it. Because why would I fix any automation problem with anything other than a buffer gate? There we go. Automation 101. Use buffer gates for everything. We'll add 60 seconds to this. So when it goes on, boom, it should stay on. Yeah, there we go. So that's going to keep cranking that temperature up. Hang on. No! I get to use a filter gate. What? This is breaking my flow. I don't know how to do this. What's going on here? 60 seconds. Because closed is bringing in more heat. So there we go. So now we're heating up. And if this thing is above that temperature for long enough, then we will open it up. So I can see that the steam reaches about 400 degrees Celsius, which is excellent before it turns off. Haha! Let's hear it for using something besides a buffer gate. And on that note, the time delay relay thing for running the fan on the 3D print head actually worked out really good. Ended up just plugging it straight into the hot end like that. These things are both normally high for whatever reason, and then it drops low when it starts to run on one side, and I just use that to signal the time delay relay, which runs the fan, which cools the heatsink, which keeps everything happy. So, easy way to expand the amount of fans you have, or operating, or cooling heatsinks, without needing more ports and stuff like that, or having them run continuously while the printer's plugged in. It's pretty cool. I'll share it with you a little bit later, but that actually worked out pretty good. There was like one comment talking about that over there. So let's go ahead and enable this steam turbine to see if we can stack multiple steam turbines on top of each other. Could you imagine what this would look like, though? Just envision. What would this look like if we added a third tier? All right, so here's the moment of truth. Steam turbine 1 runs. These guys are firing up. And what's going on here? Too cold. No! Why? What? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Automation down here. We're just going to get rid of this, and we're just going to move this thermal sensor to the cold side instead of the hot side. So that will just... And then I'll stick that right there. And to help move the thermal energy around, I'm going to go ahead and use some thermal shift plates in the back here. So tungsten here, and we'll just kind of move it up. Tungsten, tungsten, bam. There we go. Okay, so the inlet temperature is up high enough now. Let's go ahead and run this steam turbine, see if everything picks up. All right, so the bottom one is running. Come on, you can do it. It's about 5 kilograms or so right here, but it's still quite a bit lower above it. That makes me think I need even more steam down here. Let's try 200 kilograms across this entire area. I might have to add an ore gate down here for these doors so that the temperature down here can be whatever. We're making this way too complicated. Close the doors. I'm impatient. There we go. Get up the temperature already. Okay, you forced me into it. I'm gonna do this. We're just gonna go whole hog on this. 300 kilograms. I mean, let's just see if it works. Nice and hot. Preheated. Excellent. All right, here we go. Enable. I might want to use different types of metals for these doors. But from what I can see here, they're still running into under pressure problems. So let's go ahead and take this up to the next level. There's a little bit more we can do. We can add more door pumps. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, but if I get rid of this, that should allow a space for that to move through. That is, steam is its own thing there. Maybe, maybe not. Interesting that it would do this. Oop, now it's a temperature thing. Okay, well, it can't be a temperature thing anymore. Come on! Run! No, what? We need some fresh magma down here. More magma. There you go. More. Woo! Is that all three running? Check it out. How about that? All right, so this has to last for a couple of cycles. No, no, this one's struggling. Why is it? No. Okay, because I sped the game up too fast. That's got to be it. Nope. Maybe not. It could be that this single steam turbine is simply not moving enough to feed the two. So what if I get rid of one of these down here? Does that let more through? 2 in, 2 out sort of thing? That's awfully close. I mean, this is the most ridiculous setup. Look at all that effort we've had to go to just to stack up 3 steam turbines, but there you have it, guys. You can run these in a pyramid and have it actually work. I mean, this one's struggling for whatever reason, but this one over here seems to be working just fine. Maybe we ought to do this number or something like that, and that stabilizes them a little bit more. Let's speed this up, run a couple cycles here. Boom! So there you have it. 3,600 kilojoules produced by 3 steam turbines. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little episode here of Oxygen Not Included. Hopefully you guys find it somewhat useful or helpful. And let me know down there in the comment section below if you got some other ideas for steam turbines or, probably this guy right down here. I think that's probably the next form of focus. I don't think we'll visit the steam turbine again here before the next patch, which will be coming out in the next 3 weeks or so. Fair chance things might change, but there you have it. We solved the problem. It took a lot of effort, but we did solve the problem. If I've earned your subscription, then thank you so much for that, guys. Have a wonderful day and stay awesome. Peace. Brothgar out.